Psalm 37 verse 4 and 5 says, "Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass." Good morning. I want to talk a few minutes on what God has done in my life. As I look back on my life, I have seen God's direct hand of blessing upon my family. Many times people live with regrets of bad choices that they have made, and I have my own list of those regrets that I have. But I have never regretted once the times that I have given my life over to God or listened to his hand of direction in my life, his guidance. And I've never regretted those times. God is leading us. God is speaking to us. God is speaking to adults, teens, children. But are we going to listen? Are we going to obey? The times that I have listened and followed God, I have not been disappointed with. And this morning, I'd like to take a few minutes to brag on God a little bit on what he has done with my life and my family. One time I remember seeing God's direct blessings upon my life was as a young man. God impressed upon me to take a few years to spend some time on a mission field helping in the country of Cambodia. For those 2 years, I had $250 a month coming in for income. I have never seen $250 spread so far in my life. During that time, I saw God take care of my health insurance, food, housing, plane tickets back and forth from Cambodia to the States, and many more things that God took care of, all from that $250 a month. I remember I had someone mail my W-2 form to my dad so he could file my taxes that year, and they emailed back and questioned whether or not the amount on the W-2 was correct or not. And I assured them it was. I admit it wasn't a lot, but God provided one thing after another. If there's someone here in this room that has the opportunity to spend some time on the mission field as a young person helping, I would say seize up the opportunity. You'll never regret the time spent giving yourself to the Lord and seeing God's hand of blessing that he wants to give to you. The second thing in which I've seen God bless is being able to work here on staff at the church. When I was hired, not one thing was mentioned to me about how much I would or wouldn't make. I knew I wasn't going to be a millionaire, but I wanted to serve God with my life. I wanted to do something with my life that had eternal rewards. I have never regretted the years that I have worked and toiled here so that people could be reached for God. God has always provided for my family, from clothes to food to even our family car. I've never had a new car or a new vehicle, but God has always given me a good running, reliable car. I remember when God gave me a bright red Pontiac Grand Prix. Thought that was a big thing. I was content with the old Pontiac Bonneville that I had. It was a nice big boat, comfortable car. It was faithful and reliable. The Grand Prix was offered to me, but I turned it down. One, because I didn't have to have it, and it was $2,000 to $3,000 more than what I had already saved up for a new car. Time went on, and it was offered to me again for $1,500 less than what it was offered to the first time. And I went to the Lord and I prayed and I crunched some numbers and realized if I could sell the Pontiac Bonneville and take the money I've saved up, I would have enough for the car. So I went ahead and told the person I'd buy it, and the day came to buy that Pontiac Grand Prix, and I was counting out the money to the person, and they took another $1,000 off the car and said, "I just really want you to have this car." It was a 2007 Pontiac Grand Prix, by far the newest car I had ever owned. I thoroughly enjoyed driving that car around. It was fun. It was a reliable car also. But soon came the time that we had to come to grips that you could not fit a car seat and 2 booster seats in the back seat of a Grand Prix. Our family was growing. So we had to transition into more of a family vehicle. So we put the Grand Prix up for sale, and God allowed it to sell for more than what I had paid for it and allowed us to buy our 2009 Toyota Sienna minivan, which we have today. I guess I just want to brag on God a bit that he has always provided for my family every step of the way. The last blessing I want to talk about today, I don't talk about a lot. I guess to this day I'm still unsure how it all worked out, other than God's direct hand of guidance and orchestrating it to work out. With 3 kids and living in an apartment, my wife and I started to pray about a house. We were content with the apartment if that's what God wanted for us, but deep down my wife and I had a desire to have a spare room so that we could have guests stay with us at certain times of the year, preaching conference, empowered youth, or just family coming in and out of town. My father-in-law being a missionary, he traveled through on deputation. We just wanted a place for people to stay, to fellowship with. I remember walking and driving around the lake here at the church property and asking God if he would give us a house, and particularly one of the houses right here. But the more and more I thought about it, it just wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't going to work. In our search for a house, God impressed upon me that I wanted to be close to our church so that we'd have the opportunity to serve here as much as possible. I didn't want to spend my life driving 45 an hour back and forth to our church. I wanted to be close by so I could serve. When praying, I started to pray for a house that was no more than 7.5 minutes from the church, a drive from the church. A friend said to me, "That's an odd number. How'd you come up with that?" And I just told him I wanted to be close to the church, and that's the number that came to my mind. Fast forward years later, and God miraculously gave us a house, not 7.5 minutes drive from the church, but 7.5 minutes walk from the church. It wasn't the house that I was thinking of praying about, but God knew what we needed and what we could afford. The house even had a finished basement that we were able to set up as a guest room with a bathroom, living area, and everything for a guest. In the last 6 months, we have gone very few weeks without having someone stay in that guest room. During preaching conference, we had my sister come with her 7 children, and they stayed with us. That sure did fill up the house. But we were excited to have them and to have them stay with us. We were so busy getting things ready and things for preaching conference that it never even crossed my mind that 8 more people in our house eating at some of the meals would take our food budget for the month and plummet it into the red. It never crossed my mind. 2 days before my sister arrived, we came home, and on our front porch, I estimate there was over $200 worth of food just sitting there. And I don't know where it came from. I have no idea. But God put that there. And I look back at that, and God was taking care of my family. God has taken care of my family every step of the way, and I believe it's in direct connection with our love and service for God. Don't waste your time chasing money. Use your time chasing the things of God, and let him work out the rest. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of thy heart.